All right, in this next video, we're going to take our little composition here where he's animated, and we're going to now take him and make this composition, which has all of these different layers, and essentially pull this into another composition where we can animate him with the text and also get him spinning. So this is the tie head anim composition. Let's ignore the original one, which was just our demo. So I'm just going to close this one and close this one. So they still exist. They're just inside of here as compositions. And here's my tie head. So I'm going to make a new folder. Okay. Logo. Ooh, not LOFO. Logo. Final animation. And I'm going to take the tie head, if it's not in, wherever it's at, and just pull it into there so I can organize it. And then my compositions that are going to be exclusive to this one are basically going to be in here. So I'm doing kind of multiple things. I really should probably separate them, but this is fine because that other one was just a demo. So what I'm going to do, I don't want to complicate things. So this is the one we're working on right now. This is the one that I have. And I want to take this one and I'm going to pull it and create a new composition. And so now this is inside of a brand new composition that I can now manipulate. Now what I want to do is basically take him because I want him to spin like a coin and I want the text to be over here. So what we're going to do is right now, if I try to rotate him, because now all I have to do is worry about this composition and not all of those separate layers because they're in here. Let's rename this composition first. And we'll call you logo main comp. Okay. So this is inside of there. This is our main. This is where we're going to put, if we have multiple compositions, into this one, and then I can edit them. Okay. So we're in the main comp. Here's the head. You can see I can shut it off and on. And what we want to do is, if I try to rotate this, if we go in here and look at the rotation, you'll see I can rotate them like this, and that's not what I want. So the second number is just a rotation. This is two-dimensional, okay? So that means usually when you see the values, it's up, down, left, right, but there's no third dimension to it. And the number to the left is how many times would I want to rotate. So in other words, if I wanted him to rotate 5 times within 2 keyframes, I'd put 5 here. 5 times, let's say 360, which means he would rotate fully 360 degrees 5 times. And that's just a quick way of doing it. But I want a third dimension because I want him to spin like a coin, kind of pop, bounce in, and or just drop in and just spin, and then get kind of a little dizzy. So he's like, "Whoa, I'm spinning." Okay. So to do that, I'm gonna go right in here, and you see we have these icons. This is quality, so I can lower his resolution. You can see if I zoom in. This also speeds up if your computer's going too slow. Motion blur, adjustment layers, but this third one is 3D. This will add that third dimension. So on this particular composition, this which is acting as a layer, I turn this on, and all of a sudden we see now all of these extra settings. So you'll notice now that my rotation is now broken into 3 different sets: X, Y, and Z. So my X, my Y, and my Z. And now it's a 3-dimensional. And we'll get more into that later. But for right now, this is great because now I can just key my Y rotation. Okay. So I'm going to turn on my title safe area. And I'm just going to get him to rotate. So, and we might adjust this afterwards, right? But for right now, I just want to show you how we would key this. So I would go to the beginning and I'm going to key my Y rotation. And let's say he's here. It's like, hey, I'm happy. And then all of a sudden, let's say right about after a second, we're going to set another key. So it's going to hold. And then let's say 4 seconds into it, he is going to rotate about 5 times. And what we can do with that rotation, let's say right here, 15 times. So he's going to really be going. So we're here. We'll just test. And I'm going to shorten this up. I just want to see it. This green line is showing me that it is loading into RAM. And that means that it's basically holding those frames in there so that the next time I play it, it's going to calculate in real time and show it at full speed. So let's rewind and hit play, spacebar. Now, if I want to speed this up, let's bring this in. Let's bring you in, and I'll have to recache it. Spacebar, we see it growing. How fast it is depends on what you're doing and the speed of your computer. Right now, so this is how we're starting to get him to spin. Let's go right about here. Oh, and it's going down. So let's do it actually. Let's go right about here. Let's say 20. It's better. So from here to here, it's going up to 5. Then it's boosting up to 15 spins, and then it's slowing to here. So let's see what that looks like. He starts in. Hey, wait a minute. Whoa, whoa. Once again, I can always take a key and just move it if I want to slow things down. Now, so we're getting where we want just with the spin. And I'm going to tweak out timing and stuff as we continue on. Right, so now that we've got that, And we've adjusted the rotation. We're going to do just a little bit more. And so with this guy, we're going to do one last thing before we can animate him and start putting the text in. And that's going to be shortening it down, because right now this guy is it's going way over here, and this is pretty long. I want the ultimate animation to not be this long. So I could go back into this guy, double click, and try to adjust all of these and shortening them, but that's really a waste. I don't need to do it that way, and it would be a pain in the butt. So I'm going to go here, and I'm going to right click on this, and I'm going to go to time. So I'm right clicking on my head animation, go to time, and I want to enable time remapping. And you see it makes a key right here. So this is the end of the movie, okay? So that if I move it over here and we go to it, it's now sped it up so that it compensates. It squishes it down in here. And then it ends now here instead of way here. So I basically have shortened it to almost half. Right about here is about half the speed. So it's playing twice as fast, but afterwards it disappears. So let me Control Z. So what I'm going to do is one more thing. So I've already added enable time remapping, but I also want it to freeze on the last frame because I don't want my little head to disappear. So I'm going to say freeze on last frame, and then you see the icon changes. So now it's remapping and it's showing the last frame. So when I pull it over now, you notice my head is still there. And now I can move this in, say to about here, and let's move this in, which is the motion where it stops. And now if we hit play and test it and see, oh no, he's spinning, whoosh, 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 boom. And then it stays all the way. So I've done two things. I've sped it up, and I'm freezing the last frame so it doesn't disappear. And if I shorten it all the way to here, then all that animation would only happen in 1 second, which would be way too fast. But at least this is something I can now animate and deal with. And the next section will be just adding him to pop in. But that gives me this. So we went over we turned this into a 3D layer. We've animated the rotation by just multiplying here. How many times is it going to spin in different areas, and keyed it. And then we took it and right clicked and went in to time, and we added enable time remapping and then freeze on last frame. And then wherever we pull this is where it's going to finish that animation. It's not cutting it, it's speeding it up. And then it just freezes the last frame so it stays there.